From the world's leading center for finance, the arts, publishing, science, research, media, innovation, and much more. This is Metro Focus with Rafael P. Roman. And tonight with Mike Schneider.
Tonight, what Superstorm Sandy destroyed in Lower Manhattan, and what do we do next?
So there's very poor understanding about what actually happens to water once it hits the shoreline.
Big bridges get big money. The gunfight at the OK Corral is what made history. But do you know who made Wyatt Earp a household name?
It was Josephine, really, who shaped the legend of Wyatt Earp.
In a springtime tradition in Brooklyn.
We have a long window of time when you can watch different cherry blossom trees in full bloom.
Funding for this program is made possible by James and Merrill Tisch, Cheryl and Philip Milstein family, Jody and John Arnhold, Bernard and Irene Schwartz, the Nissan Foundation, and the Ford Foundation, working with visionaries on the front lines of social change worldwide. Corporate funding for Metro Focus is provided by Mutual of America, your retirement company.
Hello, I'm Rafael P. Roman. Welcome to Metro Focus. We live on the coast, and we learn what that means for a city when Superstorm Sandy hit us last fall. Tonight, we'll look at the city's infrastructure, what we learned about it, and what we need to do to fix it. We'll talk with a reporter who's been following the recovery story for the Wall Street Journal. But we begin in Lower Manhattan, where Rick Carr found signs that the storm's damage is far from repaired.
The shuttered stores at South Street Seaport are a silent reminder that parts of Lower Manhattan still haven't recovered from the storm. So are the emergency generators deployed around the neighborhood. Some of them were put in place within days of the storm and kept in place for 6 months, just in case the power goes out again. Lower Manhattan is still coming to terms with the reminder that the storm sent ashore, that some of the most expensive real estate in the world is vulnerable.
It isn't just that Manhattan is surrounded by water. Big chunks of Lower Manhattan in particular are built on land that was reclaimed from the water, like Battery Park City behind me here. What that means is that the island of Manhattan is no longer surrounded by wetlands that can protect it from storm surges like the one that Sandy sent ashore.
So the surge slammed into Lower Manhattan with undiminished force. But once it did, nobody could predict exactly where the water would interact with the area's infrastructure.
So there's very poor understanding about what actually happens to water once it hits the shoreline.
Bill Selecki is a professor of geography at Hunter College and director of CUNY's Institute for Sustainable Cities.
We know a fair bit about the volume of water as it approaches the shoreline. And there's a lot of projections about the height of the storm surge, et cetera. We know relatively little about what happens to that water once it hits the shore. You know, the built environment that we've created provides pathways for moving water in and around the built environment. So into tunnels, you know, around highway entrance ramps, sort of diverting water in lots of different places.
Selecki says Sandy's surge helped scientists and engineers learn a little bit more about where floodwaters flow when they come ashore, and exactly what kinds of damage they could inflict on infrastructure. The MTA, for example, learned its 4-year-old, $500 million South Ferry subway station couldn't survive the flooding, but its century-old predecessor could. When an explosion at Con Ed's East Side generating station plunged Lower Manhattan into darkness, the utility learned that its retaining walls had been just a couple of feet too short to keep out the surge. At Verizon headquarters on West Street, engineers learned that salt water and old copper telephone wires don't mix when 5 feet of water flooded this basement cable vault. The floodwaters knocked out 70 cables that connect the building to thousands of homes and offices around the neighborhood, and knocked out the services those cables carry.
Voice services, high-speed data services, movement of information, video signals.
Verizon's Chris Levendas says the telecom company gleaned some good news from the flood. While the storm played havoc with those old copper cables, it had no effect on modern fiber optic lines. So Verizon stepped up its efforts to replace the copper cable.
We're moving as much service, if not all service, as quickly as possible to fiber optic-based infrastructure, because having a fiber optic-based medium to distribute services in this area underground is the best way to be able to deal with flooding. We've put 20 years worth of critical telecom infrastructure investment, we've put that in place in a number of weeks and months.
Verizon officials say the company planned its investment in the fiber optic upgrade before the storm. But other Lower Manhattan businesses didn't have that kind of foresight. And today, they're facing massive bills for repair and improvements.
I was at an event looking at some of the buildings on the East River, and each one of those buildings, those sort of tall office towers, might be more than $100 million to rehab and to bring up, as well as to provide internal flood mitigation.
Owners of Lower Manhattan residential properties are investing too. The developers behind this rental tower just spent $250,000 on a high-tech flood barrier, according to a recent Daily News story.
Those who are able will start to bulkhead and protect their own facilities, but in the long term there will be demands and calls for larger scale enterprises. But that costs a lot of money in a time when governments have less and less to really do this kind of planning.
In the end, Selecki says there's no way to completely protect an island city from the waters that surround it.
New York City grew up where it did because the Hudson and East Rivers, New York Bay and the Atlantic Ocean are nearby. And as long as the city's got that relationship to the waters that surround it, it's going to have to deal with whatever those waters bring ashore. For Metro Focus, I'm Rick Carr in Lower Manhattan.
And joining me now for more about how the greater New York region is managing in the aftermath of Sandy is Laura Kusisto of the Wall Street Journal. Laura, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Laura, from your reporting, I wonder if you could tell us the full extent of the damage inflicted on Lower Manhattan by Sandy.
Absolutely. Well, I think as many people know, if you went to Lower Manhattan in the first week after Sandy, it was a different world. It was, pitch black. There was no electricity. Many buildings were closed. Maybe what fewer people know is that even in the months after Sandy, about a third of the office space in the financial district was still closed, and a lot of the residential buildings took a long time, actually, for that area to come back.
Is most of it reclaimed now?
We're certainly getting there. There are about 3 large office buildings that are still out of service, and there are a number of small businesses on the ground floor. That's, I think, the big thing that's taken time, especially the South Street Seaport.
So has that made it much more expensive to live there or to do business in Lower Manhattan?
I think probably to live there, if you're a renter, it might actually make it a little bit cheaper. It's become a little less desirable. But if you're a landlord and you own a building, it's absolutely very expensive now. You need to think about moving some of your equipment up to much higher floors.
No, Rick's piece talked a lot about lessons learned. I wonder if you could tell us what you think are the lessons that the city and the region should have learned from Superstorm Sandy.
I think one of the difficult things about these storms is that they are they're quirky. And I think there are certain lessons you can learn, and to some degree, one of them is just to expect the unexpected. But I think the big thing that landlords at least are looking at for now is trying to get equipment up much higher. Many buildings had all of their electrical systems, their elevator systems, their boilers in the basement, and that wasn't a great idea.
As you know, some people believe that the chief lesson they should have been learned is that we have to stop building so close to the water's edge. Is there any chance that that's going to happen?
No, I don't think so, actually. It's interesting. I was at a conference yesterday, and one thing that they said is that basically all of the undeveloped land, all the large undeveloped sites in New York City are on the waterfront. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
So which areas of the city are doing well in their recovery and rebuilding, and which ones are not doing so well?
So I would say Lower Manhattan did fairly well. There was a lot of investment there, a lot of attention. One of the areas that I looked at that is struggling more is Breezy Point. There was a huge fire, wiped out more than 100 homes. A lot of the homes were kind of old summer bungalows, so they're still really struggling.
And how are we going to pay for all this?
Oh, good question. Mostly money from the federal government. A lot of people, some people had insurance, a lot of people didn't, but actually a lot of that funding just got approved, so we're going to start to see that flow pretty soon.
And what about the infrastructure of the buildings?
In terms of who's going to pay for fixing it, in a lot of cases, people are getting loans from the Small Business Administration. And yeah, if you're making long-term improvements, private landlords have to pay, or private homeowners.
And beyond the buildings, what about public lands, roads and bridges and stuff like that?
I think that's one of the things that people hope will be a benefit of the storm, that all that kind of federal money that is flowing into areas like the Rockaways that have been neglected will help build up areas that we really hadn't invested much in a couple of decades.
Are there other benefits of the storm that perhaps, many of us haven't seen? For example, are there problems that had been ignored that now we have to focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Rockaways is a fantastic example of that. Even when you went out to the Rockaways before the storm, it looked sometimes in some ways like a second world country. And there's been a lot of attention. People have realized that there were not jobs there were not small businesses. A lot of the housing was sort of in poor repair, roads in poor repair. So I think there's going to be a lot of attention focused there.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, we'll have more on rebuilding and recovery after Sandy next week. Join us from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Thursday, May 16th for Superstorm Sandy, a live town hall hosted by NJ Today's Mike Schneider. We'll look at what worked, what didn't, and what's next with experts and with questions from a live audience.
And now, New Jersey Today Managing Editor Mike Schneider.
The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey has 4 bridges. And if you're 80 years old, they are all older than you. That's right, the Port Authority has not opened a new span since the George Washington Bridge back in 1931. But this is about to change. And I asked one of this region's most respected transportation executives, Martin Robbins, what we're going to be getting for our $2.8 billion and why it took so long.
The one that sticks out in terms of long-term languishing project is the Goethals Bridge project. It's a very meritorious project. The bridge is definitely deficient by today's standards. It's 2 narrow lanes in each direction, heavy truck traffic. It is kind of a scary experience.
So it's got to go. Can't be repaired. It shouldn't be updated.
Well, they've looked at a million different combinations and possibilities with the bridge. There was one idea to build a second bridge and turn the existing structure into one way.
Yeah, right.
But over the years, that was rejected. I guess the bridge had a number of deficiencies in its structure and whatever, and the decision was made to build a whole new bridge.
The Bayonne Bridge is a much more modern problem. They've got super tankers going through the Panama Canal that need to get into the port up here. They can't fit under the Bayonne Bridge the way it is right now, so they got to lift it up, as it were.
That's a dramatically different problem. The Goethals Bridge is an issue for motorists. Motorists have it's a scary, as I said, a scary experience going across that bridge. I have used it many, many times in my life, and I don't look forward to, to using it again until it's replaced. The Bayonne Bridge is actually a relatively lightly used bridge as opposed to the Goethals Bridge, which is much more heavily used.
But the tankers, the new huge tankers, can't get under it.
But it is located in a critical point across Kilvan-Cull. It stands between New York Harbor and the Newark and Port Elizabeth docks. And that is a really big problem. Container ships are being built larger and larger in world commerce, and they require a greater draft than the Bayonne Bridge can now provide.
Outer Bridge Crossing.
Outer Bridge Crossing is also an important bridge and heavily used. What the Port Authority is doing for it is of a much lesser scale, much more of a, as I understand it, it's a more routine type of an improvement, putting a new deck on the bridge. The bridge is vital for bringing people from southern Staten Island into New Jersey and vice versa. It's heavily used, not quite as much as the Goethals Bridge, but quite heavily used. But its needs, you know, the passage of time, conditions deteriorate, and the bridge needs attention.
Will this, when all is said and done, simply provide motorists with a more comfortable crossing, or will it cut down on commute times? Will it make it an easier region in which to drive?
Well, I think that certainly at the Outer Bridge Crossing, it will make the trip across the bridge easier in that the ruts and potholes and other problems will be sealed up, and it will be a better, smooth, everybody enjoys driving over a smooth surface.
Right.
And so that would be a positive. The Goethals Bridge will really make the connection between that part of central New Jersey and Staten Island a much more appealing connection.
Have they decided what kind of bridge they'll build there? Is it in the plans already?
You know, I don't know the answer to that question, Mike.
But it's not going to look like the cantilever thing that's there right now.
No, I'm sure it will have a different design.
When all of this, last question, when all of this is said and done, will it address the overarching transportation problems and issues that afflict us here in this region?
Well, one of the reasons was that very few people could get excited about these bridges because they aren't center stage. And so they don't answer all the problems at all. But they were also neglected. The Bayonne Bridge, being a lightly used bridge, only got into the act, so to speak, because of this commercial shipping problem. And that is important, and that can't be overlooked. It's very important that the Port Authority responded relatively quickly to deal with that issue, and Godspeed to that project.
Because the first part of their name is
the Port Authority. Exactly.
Martin Robbins, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, very good.
New York is full of discussions about a huge number of issues every week, and we bring you a sample in our Listening In segment. This week, we take you to the New York Times, where the Energy for Tomorrow conference looked at building sustainable cities. The conference featured a day-long series of panels and talks on everything from the urban food supply to green buildings to a discussion titled Transport and Traffic.
If we had this conference 20 years from now, would we still be talking about congestion, about trying to get more bicycles on the street, about using roads in an intelligent way, or are we in a place where 20 years from now we can say, you know, we got a lot of problems in the world, but this isn't one of them?
You're seeing a real increase in the sort of sharing culture, so whether it's car share, bike share, and choice. And so increasingly you're seeing a lot of folks, and this is driving the market, that really want to be able to get around other ways. They want choices, and that is, I think, a different trend. So there's like a 44% increase in car share, you know, from 2011 to 2012, and you're seeing this all over the country. So just a very different trend, I think, than we've seen in the past. A positive trend, I think, in terms of seeing changes that will lead to a more efficient, sustainable, healthier society and set of cities.
The legend of the shootout at the OK Corral is probably one of the most famous stories from the American West. In case you've forgotten, that's where Deputy Sheriff Wyatt Earp, his brothers, and Doc Holliday shot and killed what some called outlaw cowboys in a very brief gunfight in Tombstone, Arizona in 1881. Fictionalized versions of the event have appeared in books, magazine articles, TV shows, and movies for decades. But there's a story behind the story that may surprise you. Wyatt Earp's common-law wife, Josephine Marcus Earp, a Jewish woman from New York, not only helped spark the gunfight, she also helped shape the tale that has made the name Wyatt Earp synonymous with law and order. In her new book, Lady at the OK Corral, Ann Kirshner, University Dean of the Macaulay Honors College at the City University of New York, uncovers some incredible new information about the legend and about a truly trailblazing woman from the American frontier. Ann, welcome to Metro Focus.
Thank you.
Now, Ann, what motivated you to write this terrific book, Lady at the OK Corral?
Well, there's the spark, and then there's sort of all the stuff underneath. The spark was an email from a friend who said, "Did you know that Wyatt Earp was buried at a Jewish cemetery?" And I thought, well, that's impossible. And so in a way, that was the spark, because it set me off and running to try and figure out, how did Wyatt Earp get there? It quickly led me to Wyatt Earp's Jewish wife. Like a lot of people who grew up in the 50s, you know, there I was in Jackson Heights, Queens, plunked down in front of a black and white television set, watching Wyatt Earp on television. You mean Wyatt Earp had a Jewish wife? Well, I didn't see that in the Hugh O'Brian version. So the idea that there was this Jewish woman in the picture, a Jewish woman from New York, I'm a Jewish woman from New York, that seemed improbable and fascinating. And then there's the gunfight itself. You know, the gunfight.
The most famous gunfight in Western.
Absolutely. It has sunk its roots so deeply into our psyche that every day, I have a Google alert on OK Corral. Every single day you see it to refer to anything from, you know, a teachers union fight to a congressional showdown. It's a metaphor, it's a trope that we think of. So the idea that the gunfight, which I thought was about politics and power and money, the idea that there was this woman, Josephine Marcus, who had a lover on both sides, that struck me as amazing. And then Wyatt Earp himself, I thought he was the guy with the white hat. Well, it turns out that it was really Josephine who put that white hat on his head and made sure
really
that
a little
stayed
gray
there.
Although I like the white side of the hat more than the black side.
I think the truth is, like most people, there was a lot of black and white in all of us, a lot of good and bad. But it was Josephine really who shaped the legend of Wyatt Earp. Well, and that was a revelation.
What I found interesting in your book is that in the West, you didn't seem to confront much, if any, anti-Semitism. The prejudice came from within the Jewish community in the West. Talk about that a little bit.
It's an incredible paradox, really. And for many of us who grew up on the East Coast, we don't know as much as we should about what life was like on the West Coast. The San Francisco that Josephine grew up in when her family went from Prussia to New York to San Francisco was a highly stratified society. And the upper crust were the German Jews, and then there was everybody else. And Josephine's family was from Prussia, i.e. from Poland, and they didn't belong to that upper crust. And I believe that one of the reasons Josephine ran away from home to become an actress was because Josephine didn't want to be second-rate anything, and so she went off.
You talk a lot about how she's unconventional, but what I found fascinating in the book is how she's a mix of being unconventional and very conventional. She lived with two men, not being married to them, but nevertheless, she was the perfect wife to both of them when she was married to them, for one example.
Yes. Josephine really was the lady at the OK Corral, and that title is in part ironic because there were those two sides of her. On the one hand, she wanted to be like her sister, who was wealthy and very connected in San Francisco society eventually. But then there was the other part of Josephine, which I actually think is the real Josephine, and that's the adventurous, the woman who was always looking for the next adventure, the next fortune.
Now, I understand that the students at the Macaulay Honors College, of which you are the university dean, that they helped you research this book. How'd that happen?
Oh, well, it's one of my great privileges to be working with a student body that I think is the most interesting student body, not only in New York, but anywhere. Many of our students are immigrants. They really represent the future leaders of New York, and they bring incredible energy and intellectual drive and fire in the belly to everything they do. And so I have had a series of Macaulay students who have worked with me on this project. And I've learned so much from them. From the young women, I've learned about how they view Josephine as an odd kind of modern feminist. Yes, one who very much was tied to a series of men, but she was the woman behind the man and the woman who shaped very much of their history.
How does Macaulay fit into the CUNY system?
Macaulay is the Honors College of the City University of New York, and we work as a partnership with 8 of the colleges of the city. We have a campus in every borough. We work very closely with the campuses, and the students have, in essence, a dual identity. They are students at Macaulay, but they are also students at City College. What's so interesting about that structure is that they are part of the 500,000 CUNY students. You know, CUNY's footprint in the city of New York is unbelievable. I don't think there's a business or an organization in New York that doesn't have CUNY alums and CUNY students working in it. So we have our students on the one hand sitting next to the working mother who's holding down 3 jobs to go to school, the returning vet from Afghanistan. They have that experience of the very, very broad CUNY student base. And then they have this slice of honors education, which really takes these very academically well-prepared students who come out of just 100 high schools in New York City and gives them not only a terrific education, but that sense of what leadership in New York is really all about.
Well, Anne, congratulations for the wonderful book and for your work at Macaulay.
Thank you.
Wonderful institution.
An honor to be here.
And finally tonight, Brooklyn meets Japan meets the spring tradition of honoring the cherry blossom. The Brooklyn Botanic Garden celebrated its hundreds of magnificent cherry blossom trees and their spectacular displays on the last weekend of April. This festival of contemporary and traditional Japanese culture is considered to be the nation's largest event in a public garden.
What's really special about the Kanzan cherries and all cherry blossoms is that they only last a very fleeting moment in time, which is why in Japanese culture they have a very strong significance. The festival really started because we have a phenomenal collection of flowering Japanese cherry trees. We have 220 trees here at the garden, and the wonderful thing about our collection, very different from Washington, D.C., is that we have many different varieties of cherry blossoms. We have a long window of time when you can watch different cherry blossom trees in full bloom. The Cherry Blossom Festival is a celebration of Japanese culture, from really traditional like taiko drumming and samurai sword fighting to super contemporary things like cosplay and manga, and it really brings the generations together. One of the things that's really exciting for us is to think about preserving traditional culture. We work with a dance troupe where they have collected folk dances in Japan, and in those villages in Japan, those dances no longer exist. It's very important for us to keep these traditions alive. It's been a way for people that don't have access to travel to Japan to really just get a very beautiful, peaceful moment. And it's this really unifying moment that for me is really, really special.
The cherry blossoms last up to 5 weeks every spring. Our thanks to our colleague Sue Ding for sharing her visit with us. And that's our broadcast for this week. Next week, be sure to tune in for our live 2-hour special, Superstorm Sandy, a live town hall. NJ Today's Mike Schneider will host with live audiences and guests here in New York and at Monmouth University in New Jersey. MetroFocus will return the following week, and you can always find all our stories online at metrofocus.org. I'm Rafael Piroman. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Funding for this program was made possible by James and Merrill Tisch, Cheryl and Philip Milstein family, Jody and John Arnhold, Bernard and Irene Schwartz, the Nissan Foundation, and the Ford Foundation, working with visionaries on the front lines of social change worldwide. Corporate funding for MetroFocus was provided by Mutual of America, your retirement company.